It is election week in Nigeria, and for Nigeria, the opportunity to choose a new president. I am advocate, especially Nigerians, to go out and cast their vote. Get your PVC out, go out on that day and make a vote. Now, while you are voting, remember to be peaceful, understanding that everyone has a right to vote their own candidate. Now, while that being said, please also know that everyone's supposed to vote. There are those who are sick in hospitals who cannot go out to vote. There are those who are too young to vote. There are those who are constrained by maybe finances and distance to get to their polling units in time to vote. So please understand that you are voting as a subset of hundreds of millions of people in this country. Vote with your conscience. Vote prayerfully as well. May God help us. Nigeria will be great again. Peace. One of my favorite all-time comic book villains is the Joker, and for many reasons, he's a very compelling, he's just a crazy villain, right? He's a crazy villain, and one of the most convincing, one of the most amazing portrayals of this character was done by. Okay, so it's actually pronounced Heath Ledger, not Heath. I don't know. I kept saying Heath, so God help me. Amen. I'm not even trying to be goofy, I'm just being real. He acted the role of the Joker in Dark Knight's trilogy. He said something that kind of just hits really deeply. He says, anyone that has a job that takes them away from home, I think can understand the difficulties in maintaining consistency, not only with your family and those you love, but with your friends. Now, Heath Ledger might have worked, he's late now, by the way, rest in peace, Heath Ledger. He did a very wonderful job with the Joker, amazing. The job he did, phenomenal. He became the character on so many levels, and wow. But even outside of film, outside of cinema and film and comic books and all of these things, this is true for any project. Now, recently this year has been, for me, really, really crazy. I want to talk about all of these things, but before I do that, this is Salim Mohammed Tarfa. Let's get the intro. What is good? It is the Fizzy Speaks. You already know what it is. Back again with another episode. You already know you are the best of the best, nothing but the best, absolutely the best. This particular episode was recorded way back in March of this year, 2022, with an awesome person who, I would say that everyone needs to have people like this in their corner. Someone who is, older, more experienced, more learned on many issues, and is eager to share with you. So yeah, I'm just going to put it together and just say that this episode has been a long time coming. It is consistency with Mr. Kosisi. I don't know how else to. You can't make this stuff up. It just rhymes. Yeah. So a story of new beginnings, loss, overcoming hardships to realize a dream. Without further ado, let's get it. On this episode of the Fizzy Speaks, a man who has impacted in me a lot. And when I say a lot, and he has inspired me, not just religiously, spiritually, but in his way of living and his way of reasoning. Now, this man is an entrepreneur. By many standards, he has checked many boxes for what it means to run a successful business. This man is also a gamer. So he's a businessman, but he plays games, and he's really good at both of them. And at the same time, he's an engineer. I am really blown away to finally be able to do a podcast with Mr. Kosisi himself, Engineer Abdul Wahab. It's awesome to have you on the podcast, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
With all the praises, people go the reason now, guy.
Yeah, he's super humble as well. So yeah, he's a Muslim. He's a very proud Muslim at that. He doesn't hide it at any point to show that this is what he believes. This is how he carries himself. This is how he lives his life day to day. So even in everyday conversations, he would always reference the Quran and Hadith and so many things. And I'm just like, wow. So it's impossible not to learn something when you're with Mr. Abdul Wahab. Thank you very much for joining me on this podcast.
Thank you, Mr. Salim. I'm really, really honored to be on the Fizzy Speaks. Although I've been one of your silent listener.
Yeah, actually,
No.
he hooked us up. He hooked me up with the cap that everyone knows, the Fizzy Speaks cap that I wear. He's the one that hooked me up with that cap because he has like the brand Kosisi wears. That's his brand, and they make amazing stuff like uniforms, track suits, jerseys, trad, everything. Like his drip right now. You can probably hear his drip, but his drip right now is also Kosisi. So like he walks in the room and you know he's Kosisi. Like you see it on him. This is Kosisi.
We got sell market.
Yeah,
we got sell market. So thank you, Mr. Salim. I'm really, really honored. Thank you very much for having me on your episode.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So the reason why I actually called Mr. Kosisi this today to talk about this topic, consistency, is he called me after we had an engagement, and he spoke to me for some minutes. We're just like two men, standing outside, and he just called me for a moment and he spoke to me and he said that he listened to he interacted with some of my work on the podcast, on the blogs, and then he just told me that silently he has been following with this, and like I should keep it up and I should keep up the consistency. And he talked to me about consistency for a little bit, and wow, I just felt like I couldn't keep that conversation to myself. It had to be shared with other people. So Mr. Abdul Wahab, Mr. Kosisi, I would just like to ask you maybe to share with others your story on consistency, because it's really amazing where you started from and how far you've gone.
Yeah, Mr. Salim, thank you very much. Let me put it this way. Most of us want to get to the finish line in life. Probably we set a standard for ourselves, or we have this dream, this aspiration that we want to achieve in life.
True.
But most of us don't want to see it through. It's like magic. They just want it to happen magically. I don't think it happens that way.
True.
There's always a pathway to success.
True.
And most times these pathways are not silver lined. You understand? So
exactly.
The only way you can get to the end zone is to be consistent.
To start
no matter
as you mean to go on and keep up every day, showing up.
Yes. If you are not encountering obstacles, then you are not moving from one layer to the other. Even as an engineer, we know the law of gravity. Once we are at a particular point and we are comfortable with the gravity station, if we try to move, there's always a gravitational pull
Guys trying to bring us down and say, hey,
this is life.
This is where you should be. This is constantly where you are
supposed to be. So why are you trying to go up? So this is how it is. This is how life is. But people try to run away. Try to play the card of play safe. Yeah, I will say yes, it's good to play safe. But what is there? For me, it is not about you trying and failing. You can try 1,000,000 times. A lot of people have done that. Even one of the best presidents the United States ever had, Abraham Lincoln, failed in so many ways until he became who he is, a legend.
Yes. Sir, there's this, sorry to cut you there, but there is this quote that, when you were speaking just now, I remembered something. Now we have this thing in social media where people, especially young people, we have quotes, we have phrases, sayings that we run with. And the thing is, there's this quote that goes, that motivation gets you going, but then that discipline keeps you growing. That was the quote, I think, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
That your discipline keeps you growing. You talked to me about your gaming hub, the gaming hub that you've already started, and it's actually, this is, by the way, if you're in Abuja, he will give you the entire details. The place is insane. PS5s everywhere. Don't worry, you go there, you will lose track of time, right? That place and the story behind it is amazing. How you started from way back.
Yes.
So maybe you can just share that story.
I came to Abuja 2004. I think 2003, 2004, thereabout. I wasn't sure. And I stayed in the ghetto. which most of you people known as Jikwe. You know,
Jiko is anyway. Let's just leave it.
Yeah, for people that stay in Maitama, Sokoro, and yes, they'll tell you Jiko is the ghetto. You know, so, but not the Jiko of today. As of then, there was no road, no access road properly. It wasn't as popular as the people say today. And you know, I've always been a gamer. You know, I had a PS2 back in Jos then, because I was a Jos boy, born and brought up.
Okay,
And,
represent.
Yes, J-Town for life, you know.
For life, boy, in Abuja.
Yeah, you know, as they be
okay,
now. And we guys come fire here for here.
Yeah, of course.
So, when I got to Abuja, I saw there was this guy that plays game. Then he has a PS1, and a lot of people play game at the place. I also go there to play. So one day I just decided to go and bring my PS2. When I brought it, people offered me money to play it. I didn't have a place to play. Then I decided to start playing in my house while my dad go out with my brothers to work. I'll play game and make money. Before they get back, I'll pack up my business and I begin to save money, bought a TV, and you know, gradually rented a shop, and you know, so many stories in between all these stories. But
obviously,
I'm very, very grateful to God that today I am where I am. But I can assure you, along the line, I think after renting the shop, I got into a lot of business issues along the line. I think the first year of my business, I locked the shop for 6 months. Yes, because the game was faulty and I could not afford to replace it until one of my brother was generous enough to loan me money to buy another game and start all over again. I used to be a very good footballer then. I had to choose between business and football, and I chose my business then. I had to leave playing football. I don't go to the pitch anymore like I used to, and I decided to focus on business. And even along the line while I was still in school, I had to close the business sometimes, renovate, go and come back better, go and come back. I think within the span, I think the last one I closed the place for close to 4 years.
Okay.
Yes. After buying the shop itself, I closed down the place for 2 years, and after 2 years I started building, and it took me about 4 years to build the place, if not 3 years, so about 5 years.
Wow.
So think about it.
And all of this is coming from you having one PS2.
Yes.
This is all of this story, all of this growth, all of this time.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. For a lot of people know my story. Some people used to use it as a reference. Even today, some people tell me that how far.
Yeah.
You know, like for my wife, today, alhamdulillah, I can say I'm doing okay. But the first time I opened up my game shop and they made money, I was so happy. I was literally dancing in my room, and my wife was looking at me like, what the fuck? Is it that you've not seen money before?
Exactly,
or what?
yeah.
But I told her that no, this money is different. I miss this money. I miss this
and maybe it's not even the fact that this is the amount of money, but just knowing that you used to do this kind of business before, and now you are able to do it on a different scale, and it's successful and it's coming out, and no matter how much.
I think the joy was because I knew then that I had the aspiration and the desire and the dream
to do that,
to do it at this scale. And today, with patience and consistency, I'm able to achieve and produce that. It was just the joy for me, the satisfaction. It wasn't the money anymore. It was about,
it's just knowing that
the dream
you actually stayed on that course till you actually achieved what you wanted to achieve.
Exactly. So you can imagine since 2005 or 2004 up till now, we're talking almost 16, 17 years ago.
And from what I saw pictures. I think you showed me some images.
Yeah.
They are looking to move to get virtual reality stuff in there and everything.
And wow. The reality was that all these ideas were not on my head initially. I just wanted to recreate what I used to have then, and because I remember then I started with PS2. I also had PS3 along the line. Then came PS4. Expanded. I could tell so many things. Started with normal TVs, switched to plasma. Like that. Today we now have 65-inch screen.
High refresh rate,
exactly, ultra HD display TVs. I remember then we used to have there's this
Gaming
TV of mine that I bought, the first TV I ever got. My brother nicknamed it Akpati Mutwa in Hausa. It means sleep and die. It's this kind of TV that you have to eat at the side, like you have to slap it for it to get some signal. It used to misbehave. So you eat it to clear the head.
That's some spiritual TV.
So looking at all these things, the consistency for me, it's what got me there. I will not lie to you. I see a lot of youth today want to do so much. They want to dream, they want to aspire, they want to be so many things, but how many of them are patient enough to see it through? Because I'll see people give themselves 1 year target.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Okay, sir. Okay, this is actually unscripted now.
Yeah.
I'm taking down the script.
Yes.
I had a conversation with someone, a lady,
Yeah.
and I get this a lot from a lot of ladies who, for example, have this. We are common, where we know about these things, where they want to get married, and they feel like, well, you're getting older. There is pressure. You want to do this now. Some people want to do, let's say, masters now. Some people want to, like guys as well, they want to make so amount of money in this time. They want to do this and this, and there's this time frame, maybe 1 year. It has to be next year, 5 years. When they tell you what you want to do in 5 years, everybody has this projection, and it's easy to have a target. It's easy to just say 10 years, 5 years, 2 years from now I should do this, But my question now, coming from this consistency thing, is what would you say to kinds of people who have these deadlines?
I will advise them to set target, but there shouldn't be a deadline. Okay. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
When I left university 2010,
okay,
I promised myself I won't go back to school again. I don't have any business with school. Got admission to study abroad, I turned it down. You understand? I literally did not want to have anything to do with education again. I just wanted to focus on making money. But believe me, when the time came, nobody told me to come to school. I personally chose to come back to school.
So basically, when it comes to things that will lead you to possible growth, don't put a full stop.
Yes.
Maybe just put a comma. Maybe just put something like, I don't really know where this is.
Do you get me? Because let me give you an instance. If you say you want to get married as a guy, as a young guy, you want to get married next year. What if you don't get the right person?
Which is
Are
very
you going
true.
to settle for just whoever you see?
And there's another thing you said to me. Now this is bringing back another conversation we've had, where you mentioned to me one of the greatest gifts a man can give his children, and you said something about that is the mother.
Yes.
The kind of mother, the kind of wife you marry as a guy is the best gift you can give your children.
I'm telling you.
So do you want to expatiate on that? Let me maybe allow you to do that.
Yes. The best gift a man can give his children is a good wife, a good mother. If you have a good wife, a good mother, 80% of the family problem is solved.
It's solved. And this is actually crazy, because I had this is a crazy thing, because I had the same discussion with another married man earlier today on one of my sites, and he said the same thing to me. He said, though he said 99%. So his own was different. He said, the kind of woman you marry is like, you marry a good woman, you marry a good wife, you have a good mother for your children, 99% of your problems is solved.
Yes.
You are only working to handle 1%.
Yes. Well, I would say 80%.
Yeah, you say there are other things as well.
Yes, there are so many other things that
obviously he exaggerated it a bit.
Nevertheless,
but maybe with regards to family,
maybe A is from 70 to 100.
Okay, so that's still A.
So it's still A.
Okay, so
once you have an A wife, you have everything.
Fantastic.
So if you have a good wife, a good mother, she
Shout out to my mom. She's awesome.
Shout out to my mom too. Shout out to my wife.
Okay.
I know you can't say that.
Emotional damage.
At this point of the episode, I asked myself deeply within me, is Mr. Kosisi, Engineer Abdul Wahab, my friend? And I shook my head. God. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
But you can shout out to your girlfriend.
Shout out to my future wife. when you get this, you
get,
to it,
like
yeah.
I said, if somebody said, I want to get married next year, what if you don't see the right person? Are you going to just settle for whoever you see? I'm sorry, but I don't share that opinion of just settling for whoever you see.
Because you have a timeline. You have to understand that sometimes it's more of the quality over the quantity.
Exactly.
So the time itself is not.
And people go into relationship for the wrong reasons.
True.
You get people go into relationship for the wrong reasons, but that is not what we're here to discuss today.
True. So
basically, we're just talking about consistency and how it can lead to success. Even in marriage, you want to marry somebody, you see somebody you truly, genuinely love, even if that person does not love you or does not have any, just be consistent in your love towards that person.
Be consistent in who you say you are.
Yes.
And then also watch out for consistency in the other person
I used to
too.
tell my staffs that lie only begets lie, but truth is constant.
Okay.
No matter where you go, truth is constant.
True.
But if you lie, you need another lie
to back
cover
it
the
up.
lie.
Yes.
Then the lies becomes more and more and more.
More and more.
But truth is one. It doesn't change. It can never change. Once it is the truth, it remains the same. So that is just basically what it is. What do you want to become in life? What do you want to do? Where are you heading? Just be consistent at it. Make your plans. You see, believe me, things will happen at the right time. I know we have different spiritual belief, but this is how I see it. Whatever you want to be in life will happen at the right time. There was a time in my life I wished I had $1 million in my account. Yes, there was.
I feel like that's all of us at this point.
Exactly.
Like another, if you have $1 million already, then another one is okay. But then
you understand? But
million
there was
is
a
fine.
time that probably you really wanted to see like $1 million to your name in your account that belongs to you, and you can decide what that $1 million is going to do for you. Then it will come. You don't have to go and steal somebody's money.
Exactly.
If you decide to save one naira from the day you were giving birth to, for every day, calculate it up to today. 1 naira, nobody even spent 1 naira anymore. I don't think does even 10 naira. I don't think it's as weight anymore. It does, but not too much. Probably sweet and some other thing. Pure water is 20 naira.
It's 20 naira.
So you can imagine. So now let's assume
Nigeria, which way?
Let's assume you save 5 naira every blessed day. Gradually and consistently, it's gonna get you 1 million. You might not even feel it.
You might not realize. You might not even realize when you pass 1 million.
But people will say this is not realistic. I'm just saying, talking. But try it. Get a colo. What do they call it? What's that?
Yeah.
Local
Colo,
bank.
this box for people.
Yes. Put money into it carelessly. Then after a while, break it open and see how much you have saved.
Especially if you are being consistent with the savings.
Exactly. This translates in so many ways. In school, if you know you are not very good at education or assimilation, be consistent in your reading every day. Every day you keep doing the same thing. In 3 months before the exam, you don't have to do diamond it like us. Just brush through.
And it makes it way easier. That's actually something that I've actually come to really appreciate myself. I feel like if you break things down, there's something one of these Sun Tzu's Art of War, the book. I think Tao Chi Ching also, he said something like if you take something That if you do something when it is small, do something when it is. I've said it on the podcast before. Doing something when it is still small, not waiting till it is big. Doing something when it is still little, not waiting till it is mighty before you do it, actually makes things easier all around.
It does.
So the battle is already won when you handle the small issues when they are still small. Don't wait till something is a big issue, then you start running up and down. That's great.
Even in relationship, when you and your girlfriend or wife quarrel and it's still fresh, quickly tackle it. You don't have to wait on everything.
Just tackle it there. You don't understand. Die. I don't want to see this thing again. Apologize.
Lock up. Later you can't claim Namuji.
No, man. Now you can't the boss now.
Ego go set it. Well, you don't have to. Just as soon as possible. I'm sure you understand.
Because this man is just. Don't worry, I'll marry one day. Don't listen to me. Okay, so
I'm trying to trigger him to get married. I've always told him. I said I got married. I think
NYC. He told me.
I met my wife in NYC.
You met her NYC then shortly after.
Yes.
So okay, those of us that that means that you go and meet all the people that have met during NYC.
That's not what I meant.
That's going to be catastrophic.
What I meant is that when you meet the right person, you know. You don't have to.
Okay, so sir, let me ask you something now. Let us look at consistency as a topic, and this thing you just said. How do you because this is something I was going to ask, because as regards relationships, marriage and all of these things, these are issues that young people like myself face. Now, you are meeting people, talking stage, all of this stuff, but how does consistency, dealing with other people, how do you think you can use consistency to your advantage, or being mindful of consistency, how do you think it will help
in relationship?
Yes.
I think when it comes to probably promises and what you say or you feel towards that person, it has to be genuine. Let me give you an instance. If what you feel for that person or what you want from that person is not genuine, you can't be consistent at it. You get me? We're in the campus right now. You can see how many ladies. If I'm to walk up to one of them now and tell her I like her genuinely, if it is not genuine, I will move to another one, move to another one, move to another one.
So in the first place,
if it is genuine, even if she says no, I will
you stay
come next tomorrow.
Come again, the same person. Hey, Alpha. Next
tomorrow, Alpha. 1 week's time, Alpha. 1 month time, Alpha.
Okay, so sir, also because what you're saying now, it ties into another friend of mine who's getting married soon. This is a similar scenario. The guy has been on her neck since 2014.
Okay.
And they've been friends. And suddenly they just started dating like less than 1 year, and now they want to get married. It's that fast because this guy has proven like and then obviously they have been friends and all that. But she finally gave it a chance, maybe distance, work and everything allowed them to be in the same space, and it's finally the right time. But now I want to ask for guys, because this is where the issue is. You're looking at a lady. Most guys we have issues reading ladies because they act different, slightly different from us, and they operate slightly different from us. Their system is a bit different. How do we as guys observe like a woman's consistency? Because our own consistency now is like you keep going after the same person. What's the consistency from her?
First of all, let me break down something for you.
Okay.
You remember the 1 gigabyte when we were in school? The memory card.
Yes.
1 gigabyte.
Yes, 1 gigabyte. Yes.
Before you have the 2 gigabyte. Men were 1 gigabyte.
Okay.
Women more than 1 terabyte.
Jesus.
Now you understand me?
Okay.
Women are not somebody that you can completely understand.
Okay.
But you need to see or know what you want from your wife.
From a woman, yeah.
Exactly.
And that has to be consistent.
Exactly. She must
over
not
time.
have it all.
But she will not have it all.
She can't have it.
Nobody is perfect, really.
But you see those things, those simple things that you need from her. Once you see it, then every other thing can come. You see, women are like, how do I put it? You can tame a horse with love, but not with force. So that is how women are. They need love to be tamed. For
Okay.
them to do what you want, for them to be what you want. You can get them to do anything for you. Once a woman loves you, she will do anything for you. Once she loves you genuinely.
Once she does.
You understand?
It's kind of like how that song goes, when a woman loves, she loves for real.
For real. No joke to it, you know.
Yeah.
So you need to know what you want from her. And when she has it, you don't expect her to have all the qualities, everything. You are there to assist her, to make her see her flaws and help correct it with love. Not be quarrel, no, not be fight. Though. Some women, you know, they don't like a man trying to boss them around. They will resist by all means.
Of course.
That's how men too don't want their women to correct them or try to. They will also.
So I feel like in that we are similar.
So, but once you understand your partner and there's patience between you and that consistency. You see, I used to tell my wife something. She would say, "Me, I don't change." I understand. I said, "Because I'm telling you the same thing. There's no need to change." Before I said it to you, or before I came up with this thing, I've thought about it. I need you to also understand me. That is the only way we can move forward. But if you want me to tell you what you want to hear now, I will, just to make you happy. But it doesn't change the fact. It doesn't mean that tomorrow if you ask me the same thing, I will not still tell you the same thing. I will. But because you are my wife and I don't want us to have issue, I will chill. I will relax.
You take your foot off the pedal.
Yes, I will just chill and hold on. Then maybe when the time is right, I'll put it to you again. You have to. You understand?
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you still want what you want.
Like I said, truth is truth.
Yeah, you have to be honest with yourself as well.
Exactly.
Consistent with your own truth.
Exactly.
So
that's how I see it.
That's some great man wisdom. So yes, sir. So I think we'll just make this a wrap so that you know we don't go too far. But in case you guys want to hear more of Mr. Kosisi, Mr. Engineer Abdul Wahab, the awesome man himself, let me know. We'll contact him again for another part of this wonderful episode.
Well, it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Sharing ideas, talking, and trying to grow together in life. I think these are one of the things that we miss in Nigeria. You know, people don't talk to each other.
We don't talk to each other about things that really matter anymore. That's one of the reasons
people don't relate. And remember, wherever stage you are, somebody is dealing with the stage you were before now.
Exactly. So kind of looking back and shining light is really important.
Exactly.
It makes
so
sense
that
better
person
for
realize
everybody.
that I'm not far away from it.
Yeah. And then maybe they can find their way instead of derailing or something.
Exactly.
Instead of looking at people and saying, "Oh, this person can make this mistake," and just watching them make the mistake and then laughing about it. Why not help them out? Why not show them the way? You know, it's just like we're talking about this: men helping men, women helping women. Let us all put this thing together and let society make sense.
And in Nigeria these days, people don't want to help each other. Everybody just the wrong street. God help us.
Amen. Amen. Okay, so
thanks.
that has been this episode of the Fizzy Speaks with Engineer Abdul Wahab, Mr. Kosisi himself. We are very grateful that he joined us on this episode. It has been a wrap. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments. Remember to share, subscribe, and
like
everything. All right, peace.